Welcome to Concept with Justin. Welcome back to Concept with Justin. Today, we're stepping into a world brimming with charm, color, and romantic abundance, the world of the cottage garden. This beloved style, evocative of idyllic English countrysides but adaptable to many settings, offers a delightful escape into floral profusion and informal beauty. What defines the cottage garden aesthetic, and why does it hold such enduring appeal across generations and geographical locations? At its heart, the cottage garden is about abundance, informality, and a close connection between the home and the garden. Historically, these gardens originated with rural cottagers in England, who used small plots to grow a mix of practical plants, vegetables, herbs, alongside ornamental flowers, often crammed together out of necessity. This utilitarian origin evolved into a distinct style characterized by dense, seemingly unstructured plantings, a profusion of flowers, and a charming, slightly untamed look. It stands in contrast to formal, geometric garden designs. The mood is typically romantic, nostalgic, welcoming, and deeply personal. It feels lived in, loved, and constantly evolving. Unlike minimalist styles that prioritize clean lines and restraint, the cottage garden celebrates profusion, texture, and a riot of color. A key element in achieving the cottage garden look is the approach to planting, specifically the creation of deep, mixed borders. Forget sparse plantings with lots of mulch in between. Cottage borders are packed to the brim. This density is crucial for several reasons. Visually, it creates that feeling of overwhelming abundance and suppresses weeds naturally by leaving little room for them to establish. Ecologically, it creates a rich habitat for beneficial insects and pollinators. The term, mixed border, is key, It involves planting a diverse range of plant types together: perennials, the backbone, returning year after year; annuals, for long-lasting, often vibrant color; biennials, like foxgloves or hollyhocks, adding vertical drama; bulbs, for seasonal bursts of color, especially in spring; and even small shrubs or roses for structure and permanence. This mix ensures there's something interesting happening throughout the growing season, avoiding bare patches. Think of it as weaving a living tapestry. Layering within these mixed borders is essential for creating depth and visual interest. Typically, taller plants, like delphiniums, hollyhocks, tall ornamental grasses, or shrubs, are placed towards the back of the border, if viewed from one side, or in the center, if it's an island bed. Mid-height plants, phlox, coneflowers, echinacea, daylilies, Shasta daisies, fill the middle ground, providing the bulk of the color and form. Lower growing plants and ground covers, catmint, nepeta, cranesbill geraniums, pinks, dianthus, lady's mantle, alchemilla mollies, are placed at the front edge, softening the border's transition to the path or lawn and often spilling over slightly in a charmingly informal way. This layering isn't always rigid. Occasionally, a taller plant might be brought forward for dramatic effect, or lower plants might be repeated further back. The goal is to create a dynamic composition where the eye can travel through different heights and textures, rather than seeing a flat wall of plants. It requires understanding the mature height and spread of each plant chosen. Color is obviously a defining feature of the cottage garden, often characterized by a seemingly unrestrained explosion of hues. While some cottage gardens employ softer, more harmonious palettes, pinks, blues, lavenders, whites, Many embrace vibrant, cheerful combinations, as seen in our example with its mix of pinks, oranges, purples, yellows, and whites all mingling together. There are different approaches to color within this style. One is the jewel box approach, using rich, saturated colors like deep purples, magentas, ruby reds, and sapphire blues, often contrasted with chartreuse foliage or bright yellow flowers. Another is the pastel scheme, focusing on soft pinks, lavenders, baby blues, pale yellows, and creams for a more romantic, ethereal feel. Or, as in the example, a vibrant mix-and-match approach where different colors are allowed to intermingle freely, creating a lively, energetic tapestry. The key is often less about strict color blocking and more about creating pleasing vignettes and allowing colors to echo or contrast throughout the border. Using plants with long bloom times or repeat blooming cycles is crucial for maintaining color throughout the season, a major goal for gardeners planning for spring 2025 and beyond. Integrating plants with interesting foliage color, silver, burgundy, chartreuse, adds another layer of complexity and ensures visual interest even when flowers are not at their peak. Texture plays an equally important role alongside color, preventing the garden from becoming visually flat despite the profusion of blooms. Cottage gardens excel at combining diverse textures. Think of the contrast between the fine, airy foliage and plumes of ornamental grasses, like the tall grass featured in the planter in the example image's background, and the bold, rounded leaves of a hosta or the large flower heads of a hydrangea. Consider the feathery fronds of a stilbe next to the smooth petals of a rose, or the fuzzy leaves of lamb's ears, Stachys byzantina, against the glossy foliage of Virginia. Spiky forms from plants like delphiniums, foxgloves, digitalis, or salvia provide strong vertical accents that contrast with mounding forms like geraniums or catmint. Incorporating a wide range of leaf shapes, rounded, linear, lobed, heart-shaped, and flower forms, daisy-like, trumpet-shaped, clustered, spire-like, creates a rich, tactile quality and adds depth and sophistication to the seemingly informal planting. Even the texture of seed heads left standing in fall and winter can contribute significant interest. Pathways are essential for navigating through the dense plantings of a cottage garden and contribute significantly to its character. Unlike the straight, formal paths of other styles, cottage garden paths are often winding, meandering, and made from informal, natural-looking materials. Gravel paths, particularly pea gravel as seen in the example, are a classic choice. They provide a soft crunch underfoot, allow for permeability, good for drainage, and conform easily to gentle curves. The edges are often kept soft, with plants encouraged to spill over slightly, blurring the line between path and border. Flagstone paths, using irregularly shaped stones set either directly on soil or on a gravel base, often with moss or low-growing plants allowed to colonize the gaps, offer another charmingly informal option. Stepping stones placed through a lower ground cover area can also create an inviting route. The pathway isn't just for circulation, it's part of the experience, inviting exploration and revealing different views as one moves through the garden. Integrating places to sit and enjoy the garden is fundamental to the cottage garden ethos. These aren't necessarily grand, formal terraces, but rather intimate nooks nestled within the planting. Our example shows a small flagstone patio area adjacent to the house, furnished simply with a table, chairs, and a market umbrella. This creates a perfect spot for morning coffee or alfresco dining, directly connected to the home but immersed in the garden's beauty. Benches placed strategically along a pathway, under a tree, or overlooking a particularly lovely view offer moments for pause and contemplation. The materials for these seating areas often echo the pathway materials: flagstone, gravel, or might be simple wood decks. The key is that the seating feels integrated, enveloped by the surrounding planting, rather than dominating the space. Furniture choices tend towards classic, slightly rustic, or vintage styles, wrought iron, weathered wood, wicker, complementing the garden's charm. These cozy nooks enhance the usability of the garden, transforming it from something purely ornamental into a true outdoor living space. Adding vertical structure is important in cottage gardens to prevent them from feeling too flat and to maximize planting opportunities in often limited spaces. Arbors or pergolas, like the one glimpsed in the background of the example, provide support for climbing roses, clematis, wisteria, or flowering vines, creating romantic gateways or shaded seating areas draped in blooms and fragrance. Simple trellises against a wall or fence can support climbers or espaliered fruit trees. Tutors or obelisks placed within borders provide support for taller perennials or annual vines, adding height and focal points. Hanging baskets, overflowing with colorful annuals like petunias, fuchsias, or lobelia, attached to the house, as seen in the example, or pergolas, add another layer of aerial interest. Even tall, spire-like plants like delphiniums or foxgloves act as living vertical elements. These structures and taller plants draw the eye upwards, add dimension, create a sense of enclosure, and contribute significantly to the romantic, layered look of the cottage garden. Container gardening is also perfectly at home in the cottage style. Terracotta pots, in particular, with their warm, earthy tones, are a classic choice and are used effectively along the path edge in the example, filled with bright orange marigolds and other colorful plants. Groupings of pots in various sizes on a patio or steps can create beautiful, changeable displays. Containers allow for flexibility, easily changing planting schemes, growing tender plants that need to be overwintered indoors, or adding color to paved areas where in-ground planting isn't possible. They can be used to highlight entrances, flank benches, or simply add another layer of decorative interest. Planting in containers often follows the same principle as borders, a mix of plants for height, thriller, fullness, filler, and cascading effect, spiller. Using classic pot shapes and natural materials like terracotta, stone, or aged metal complements the cottage aesthetic best. Finally, the connection between the cottage garden and the house architecture is vital. As seen in the example, the charming white cottage provides the perfect backdrop. The garden seems to embrace the house, with plants softening the building's edges and climbing structures potentially linking the two. The style feels most authentic when paired with traditional, rustic, or farmhouse-style architecture. If you found this exploration of the cottage garden style inspiring, please give the video a thumbs up. It helps spread the garden love. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Concept with Justin and click the notification bell so you can continue to explore the diverse and wonderful world of landscape design with us. Thank you so much for spending your time in the garden with us today. We appreciate your attention and look forward to seeing you in the next concept.